because I want to see you bring the most light possible into this world and achieve your highest dreams and ambitions. I'm going to share with you today the greatest single mistake that I've made that's limited my capacity to help others and is probably limiting yours. My name is Eric Osborne. I have been a psychedelic professional for 13 years. If you're interested in working with me in the group context, the spiritual framework, you can check out sanctuary.org. That's sanctuary with a P. Or you can work with me privately through my personal website, ericsosborne.com. Both links are in the show notes below. Today, what we're talking about is the single greatest flaw that prevents you from bringing forth your greatest goals and ambitions. It's probably not what you think, but once I say it, you're going to know you do it. Caring what other people think. It's natural, it's normal, it's exactly what we do as humans. We are tribal creatures, we are dependent upon the collective for our survival, no matter how independent or introverted you are. You need others for survival. And where this gets tricky, and a bit paradoxical, as most of these conversations do, is that in seeking the approval of others, we dismantle it. Now, I've called this for years the pedestalization effect, where people put you on a pedestal just to kick it out from underneath of you later on. And for many years, I blamed those people. Truth is, it was my fault. In neuroscience, it's called the idealization devaluation cycle. And its ultimate outcome is character assassination. Now, you're going to be able to look at this from the perspective of the person who idealizes others or who has been idealized themselves. It goes both ways, often simultaneously, because when we're looking to others for approval, we're idealizing them. And when we are the subject being approved of, we ourselves are being idealized. So you can't really have one without the other. It's also wrapped up in people pleasing. When we want others to be happy with what we bring into the world and happy with what we do, just even at the most basic level, if it's your spouse, your children, your close friends, when we do that, we're setting ourselves up for disaster because you cannot please people and you will never be an idol. I learned this lesson the hard way. I'm going to share it with you pretty vulnerably in the hopes that you learn from it and can grow past this faster than I did. Now, I've been working in psychedelic wellness and spiritual growth for over 13 years publicly. And when I first started this work, I wanted approval. I desperately wanted approval. I had been, at that time, I had been working with psilocybin devoutedly for 14 years. And as a, albeit educated with a master's degree boy from Kentucky, I thought surely I would not be received well in the professional psychedelic community, especially because I was not a therapist and the work that I had done had all been self-taught and self-trained. It's not that I didn't want teachers, there just were none around me. And frankly, at that point, psychedelics were so ill-conceived that even speaking about them generally brought on disapproval. So when in 2013, 2012, when things started to pick up with the work coming out of Johns Hopkins, I saw this as my time to not necessarily gain fame or fortune, but to bring this work to the wider world. And so I bootstrapped these retreats in Jamaica in 2013 with my wife and was the first person in the world to do so. Over the course of that work, in seeking the approval of others, I reached out to several influencers in the community. I brought them down to Jamaica. They thought I was amazing. And quite honestly, I am an incredibly skilled space holder. It is not just simply babysitting. Won't go into that, but I make it look easy, and it is not an easy job. And those who have any familiarity with the space know that. And so when they came into to my retreat center and they saw what I was doing with such ease, facilitating groups of 10 to 20 people myself and my hired space holders, they thought this guy is amazing and we need to promote him. We want him as a part of our work. Well, pretty quickly they saw that I was not just amazing. Actually, I'm just a human, which is in large part what makes me a great space holder is the recognition of that. And from the very get-go, I ask people, please do not put me on a pedestal. Do not think that I'm something special. You will see that I'm not. But because internally I sought their approval and was basically a people pleaser, eventually reality came to bear and they realized that I was not perfect like they had hoped. This ultimately happened because I chose not to work with several of the individuals in the industry because, well, they just didn't have the level of experience. They didn't actually consume psychedelics themselves, which to me is a prerequisite in working in this space. And so I cut ties with them, and then the character assassination came in. You can still find it today. It's one of the most painful experiences that I have been through. There were multiple public articles written about me. One was a hired hit piece in the Guardian of all places, the one of the only publications that was writing about psychedelics at the time. The other one, well, Psychedelics Today, a very influential psychedelic media company. Not only did they write a piece saying they no longer endorse my work, but they pulled every single podcast that they recorded with me speaking about how amazing I was. I was trying to please them. And I don't hold this against them at all. I don't hold any grudge. Actually, I am at the point where I'm so grateful that this happened because it has helped me become the person that I am today. It's helped me feel more confident in who I am. And that has taken many, many years to work through. When we get to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the one technique, the one practice that is the key to getting over this hurdle. But first, I want to share with you a couple of more stories. Now, as an employer, this is I think, a very important conversation because our employees and the people on our teams, and now I'm working for running a nonprofit, the people in our communities, even, they look to us for leadership. And that's important and it's understandable. But as leaders in any capacity, and this is a leader in your personal life or a leader at a larger level, you have to watch out for some red flags here to know when people are putting you on a pedestal. First is admiration, which seems innocent enough, right? And for the most part, it is. But the truth is, anytime someone is admiring you, they're putting you above them. If they really see you on the same level, then they may want to learn from you. They may seek counsel or advice from you. But when they perceive you as above them, you know it's going to go not well till the end of the day. Next is when people start to copy you. When people start to copy you, that gets even more worrisome. Again, we can teach, we can share information that we have, we can help people learn from ourselves. That's exactly what I'm trying to do here. But don't copy me, because if you do, you're going to eventually begrudge me somehow. Finally, it's jealousy. And jealousy is, that's when you know it's over. And even if it just shows up in the tiniest little words, the tiniest little ways, you've got to distance yourself. As a matter of fact, when someone starts to admire me, I start to get distance because I know it's only going one way. The moment someone starts to look up to you as their idol, the moment someone starts to admire you, is the moment you know that the relationship is destined for failure. It's imbalanced. They're actually, in many ways, making you their God. Now, this is something that we have to constantly check ourselves with. Even myself, in creating this content that I've been bringing out here in the last few months, this is inspired by the work of David Guillaume. I love his work. And there were moments where I thought of copying him. And I realized, Eric, you're putting this guy on a pedestal. I don't do that very easily either. So I had to check myself. I I had to bring it back to who I am. Now, I do love this format. It's really, I'm enjoying it. It's challenging, which is one of the things that I enjoy about it, and it's effective. So, if you enjoy my content, then I would love for you to share it out. I'd love to like it and subscribe it and do all those things that help to improve the exposure and the algorithm, because I really want these messages to reach as many people possible. I will be learning in real time and sharing that with you. I hope you see that. And I've worked with people who are on the highest echelon in business. I have worked with folks who are uh, CIA and top level government. I have worked with people who are of great fame and music and film industry. And I have worked with people who are just the most average stay at home dad. I've worked with people who drove mail trucks. I've worked with amazing. I remember one amazing guy I worked with who owned a bike shop. And this guy's he's still, if you're out there and you know who I'm talking to, I won't say your name. Oh, I will. Matt, God love you. You have always touched my heart. And, again, so I have some of these folks who I definitely won't mention even by first name. So it's important that we have each other. It's important that we are inspired by each other. And it's important to recognize that no matter where you are in life, that you are a leader. And that as a leader, you have to stand on your own conscience. You cannot outsource your conscience to others. And that's what we do when we seek approval. And it's what others are doing when they are looking to us as their idol. We can be inspiration for each other, and we should be inspiration for each other, but we should also know that we are all always equal. All right, so what is the way that we can overcome this hurdle? I thought previously it was denying myself. I told all of these people, my employees, people that I held space for, the journalists that came on retreat with us, I continue to say this, that I am not your icon. Do not put me on a pedestal. I am fallible. And the fact of the matter is, people will still do it. So, what do? We have to have radical self love. Right now, I know that there are people who I have greatly admired who have heard some story about me that's not true, some attempt at character assassination, and I don't care. Years ago, I would have. Months ago, I probably would have. But something clicked in me lately where I have come to the awareness that I can only fully love myself. It actually happened recently. Let's see, it was probably about 6 months ago at this point, where a very dear friend who I thought was a very good friend, but in retrospect was admiring me and in some ways copying me. We had a difficult conversation, and he wasn't able to hold that conversation. And rather than accepting that and owning his responsibility there, I won't say that he committed character assassination of me so much, not to others, at least to my knowledge, but to myself. And it was a wake-up call where I realized you cannot please others. You absolutely, if this individual who I had clearly done no wrong to, we just had a challenging conversation, was incapable of holding that, you know, it's amazing. Cannabis, God love you, but boy, oh boy, once I stopped smoking cannabis, or at least, to an extent, I still consume cannabis occasionally, just moderately. And when I started to communicate that, the people who thought I was on their team, well, all of a sudden they switched real quick. And I found out that you can't please actually anybody, even my amazing wife. There are times when I will ultimately let her down. So, what it takes, what you've got to have, what I have got to have, is unconditional self love, radical self love. You will make mistakes. Sometimes you'll make mistakes intentionally. Sometimes you'll do the wrong thing knowing it's the wrong thing. That is human nature. And if you don't love yourself through that, well, nobody else will, for one, and nobody else will. You have to love yourself. You have to accept yourself as you are. That doesn't mean that we just rampage through the world and hurt people, we have our conscience to answer to. We have our own internal guidance system to answer to. And we know when we're doing right and we're doing wrong. We know when we're being in service to others and when we're being selfish. We know when drawing a boundary is actually in service to ourselves. We know that when maybe not being kind in the moment is kind for the long term. And only we can decide that. And we have to love ourselves through that. We cannot outsource our conscience to anyone else. There has to be a deep knowing within ourselves that what we are doing is for our God-given mission. Take that as you will. You don't have to believe in God, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. We have to do what we know is right in our hearts. And sometimes that means owning our mistakes. And if you can't do that, then you will not be able to truly love yourself. So, radical self-love requires radical self-honesty. Those are the two things that you have to have in order to overcome this, what's sometimes called the evil eye, to overcome character assassination. And if you're going to influence this world, if you're going to truly make an impact on this planet, even if it's just in your family, in your small community, or on the global stage, you have to stop caring what other people think about you. You have to only care what you think about yourself. Hopefully that comes from a place of love for human family, selflessness, selfishness out of selflessness. It's an incredibly beautiful paradox. Without that, then you're destined to keep repeating the same mistakes like I've done over the years. You're destined to continue letting yourself and others down. You will always let others down. You'll even let yourself down. But only you can love yourself through it all. And when you do that, you'll find the right people, and those people will love you probably a little bit more than the ones in the past. All right, we've had enough for today. I hope this message lands well. I hope you take it to heart. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I look forward to seeing you around our community, or again, if you'd like to work personally with me, I'm here for that as well. God bless you. See you soon.